Hi everyone, this is Martha. I'm a clinical sexologist with a doctorate in human sexuality, and I'm from Eros Coaching. That's eroscoaching.com. I also have a weekly radio show called Eros Evolution, where recently I interviewed Dr. Jakob Pastoetter, who is here with us today. I loved the interview that I had with him so much that I decided that more people must hear from him and learn more about him and his work. And so I'm making a series of Zoom interviews, and this is part 3 of 3. Relating to the link between sex and spirit. So in previous video, we talked about the concept of sexuality and how Eros is different from our sexuality. I think video 2 is really, really amazing. And so now we're going to go into video 3, and we're going to talk about the polarity between male and female. And just a quick one about Dr. Jakob Pastoetter again. He has a Ph.D. in education from Humboldt University, went and developed a thesis for sexology while doing a research in Kinsey Institute for research in sex, gender, and reproduction. Wrote his thesis on hardcore pornography. And that's a topic that I'm very interested to interview him more about another day. So he's a certified clinical sexologist. He's been teaching and tutoring for the last 15 years. And he also provides sex, couple, and life counseling. He also does this via Skype, face-to-face. And obviously he's German, so he can do coaching, counseling in English and German. He's also the president for the German Society for German Society for Social Scientific Sexuality Research, and he organizes biannual conferences in Germany. So once again, welcome. And so tell us more, Dr. Jakob, about what you feel is the polarity between male and female.
The difficult thing to grasp about sexuality is what powers sexuality. What gives us an interest in sexuality. And I think the only way to find out is to get back to the origin of sexuality. And the origin of sexuality is that there was, about 1 billion years ago, no longer just one single cell animals, but somehow those one single cells decided to differentiate, and that means not in the gender way, but in the sexual way, to become male and female. And what resulted was in what we see today, in this amazing variety of different plants and animals. Before, there were just in this primordial soup nothing less than one kind of cell which procreated through dividing itself all the time. And suddenly they decided, no, that's too boring. There is no tension. There is no evolution. And so, actually, the Greek and the Romans were right. Eros really is the father of all the life we have today, of all the variety. So what we can learn from sexuality is, I think, what we experience in sexuality every day. There has to be a certain kind of tension between two people to make it interesting to come together. And you can only come together when before you are separated. And for most animals, that means the ultimate difference is female and male. And although it is, of course, possible to have this difference also ingrained in some way in homosexual or lesbian relationships, it is, let's say, easier for men and women to have this difference. This huge longing for separating the huge gap between you and the other gender to form a kind of new coalition to create something new. And one sees here clearly that sexology for way too long thought that sexuality is just the same for men and for women. And that's simply not true. What we have today is an idea of sexuality which is primarily male and with women as the part who has to become more male to have a fulfilling sexual life. But I think it a pity that we don't have started with that already. But there should definitely be a branch of sexology that is only be done by women and not by female researchers who are following the rules to do sexological research by males. No, they should start from scratch. They should only look at those things which are of interest to women when it comes to sexuality. I think, and I think you agree with that, so many women are dissatisfied with sexuality because it is so male-centered. And one has to admit, over the last couple of years, we have already made progress. And I'm awfully glad that this progress was achieved by female researchers. One of those things is that sexuality, even when it comes to the first stimulus, which makes sex something interesting, actually is different in male and females. Apparently, males are much more centered on visual stimuli. Well, that's old news. We all knew that. But apparently, females are not so much centered on the visual stimulus of body parts and looks or whatever, but they are much more interested in the action itself. And I think we still haven't accepted that this also means a huge difference for how males and females are getting aroused. Because this is not just what affects sexual arousal, it is also what we think about when we think about sexuality. And with females, it is more the action, something dynamic, and with the man, it is more a fixed stimulus.
Got it. So I know you're sharing probably your observations, but some people will be questioning about whether this is still relevant or whether you are just making some gender stereotyping. So I'm just playing devil's advocate there. What would you say to people like that?
I would say, don't believe me what I'm telling you. I would say, do your own research. Just try for a moment to get rid of everything you think you know about sexuality and experiment. Watch yourself. What are your fantasies? For example, if you are a female, are you really interested in that cute six-pack? Are you really interested in that six-pack? Or aren't you more interested in what that six-pack announces to you? That someone is able to trust very deeply, for example, which is very difficult without those muscles. But don't believe me, just think about it. Is it that visual stimulus? Does it really turn you on to see that six packs? Or doesn't your fantasy already go to the move? While with males, so this is nothing I'm just making out of thin air, but putting it to the extreme, it means that men always get turned on by whatever, boobs, asses, legs, lips, and so on. The females get turned on by the action. And the research by some very distinguished sexological researchers found out, oops, women really gets turned on by actually every animal that moves. So women can watch even a nice movie about the wildlife of Africa, seeing elephants doing it, and actually their body reacts to that, while the male body doesn't react to it. The male needs sexual stimulus, pictures, while the female apparently reacts to the dynamic.
Yeah. So I think it's important to add, it's not just them responding to the animals, but the interaction and the association with them, for instance, with masculinity or with power.
Exactly.
Okay, so these are some differences between male and female. Is there anything else you want to just add very quickly, just to summarize, or the whole thing?
I think it is important that we don't accept anything what sexology says today at face value. Because the point of view of today's sexology is very, very male-centered. And we should start developing a new brand of sexology, which is female-centered. And I am sure we will get very, very surprising facts about sexuality.
Thank you very much for your time and for sharing with us this series. I really appreciate it. So I like what you shared about your observations about differences between male and female, but also you started off by giving us an introduction of there's no coming together if there's no separation. And how in the beginning there was no male and female, it was all pre-mortal, it was all singular cell. And then after that, it just started to make things interesting, and all this variation of the way we express ourselves started to happen. So I appreciate what you shared, and also how you explained that while these may be observations and generalizations, and maybe some people even call it stereotyping, these are just based on studies and observations. And above and beyond all that, it's important for ourselves to start to recognize how our sexuality is for ourselves, and not to take sexologists just at face value, but to notice what is happening, to recognize it, and also to make sense of whether this is relevant to us. So I really appreciate what you're sharing with me and with viewers out there. And I hope people will be able to benefit in some way from these 3 videos that we're making. So for those of you who are interested to follow Dr. Jakob Pastetter's work, you can go to his website, that's sexology.org. That's with a IE instead of Y, so sexology.org. And he's on Facebook, that's Eros Arising. And he's going to have a new website called liveyoursexuality.com. He's the editor of German English book series, Sexuality Crosswise, and is writing a book on the development of German sex education. So that's very interesting, exciting work that I'm looking forward to find out more about, and also to read his book. So this is Martha from Eros Coaching. So thank you, Dr. Jakob Pastoetter. And I want to make more videos with you relating to porn, because that's the basis of your thesis. So thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.